What's up, guys? It's your boy Vito. I just got out of the theater about 20 minutes ago. Just saw I wanted to say Battle Angel Alita, but I have to use the new, I don't know why they changed the words around. Alita, Battle Angel. I don't know why that's better. I'm sure some marketer did a lot of research to determine that was the better name. What do I say about this movie? It's a mess, but messes can be fun. Sometimes you get finger pinch. You make a mess, have a good time doing it. Now I'm going to try and avoid spoilers as much as possible, maybe a couple light spoilers, but I'll save that for if I do a more detailed review, which I might do because I find it very interesting how they have taken one of the most violent manga that I've ever read, just a complete fucked up horror show, and somehow found a way to make it into this like PG-13 Hunger Games adventure. Was that a good idea? Oof, it's a tough call. I don't know. For me, no. I mean, this is not the movie that I would want. I obviously would want the R-rated cyberpunk adventure with the blood and the guts, people's brains getting ripped out of their head and shit like that. But okay, obviously you can't have a giant Hollywood blockbuster that does that stuff. It has to be PG-13, so you get all the kids in there spending their money on popcorn and treats. I get it. I know it's a game you got to play. And I will give a nod to Robert Rodriguez, who tried his best to put a little bit of edge on there. There's a good amount of decapitation. It's cyborg people, so you can cut off their heads and it's not too bad. So now I'm a guy who likes story. When I talk about stuff, I usually like to talk about the story. And the story of Battle Angel Alita, the original manga, one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys know this about me. That's in my top 10 things of all time. Just things. Not comics, not stories, just things. On that list is food, masturbation, Evangelion, and Battle Angel Alita. And honestly, seeing it made into a movie is really weird. Because it is violent and fucked up, okay? And I go to the store. Real quick, let me show you something. Okay, I never thought I would live in a universe where there would be a Battle Angel Alita Arizona can. That makes no fucking sense. It's a manga about people's heads getting cut off. This should not be on an Arizona can. It's so weird to me. Okay, so like I said, I like stories, and I will say that the plot that they have come up for this movie is a very weird mishmash of the manga and also a lot of stuff borrowed from the OVA. OVA is a word for anime movie. Whatever, it's nerd talk. They've changed a lot of things around. They've added new characters or changed relationships between characters, merged some characters. So I will say this. I think the story obviously tries to do too much. And I don't know exactly what the thought was. Maybe the thought was, we need as much spectacle as possible, so let's cram in as many action scenes as we can. Now, the movie is obviously mostly dealing with the initial Alita arc of her relationship with Hugo, which is a great story, a great standalone story, and definitely the strongest part of this whole thing. But then for no real reason, they start borrowing from the second arc, the motorball stuff, which is just kind of in there because it looks cool. It doesn't fit the movie very well, and honestly, it starts to get very messy and complicated. Because you have Alita, who is on this journey of discovery, doesn't know who she is. She learns that she has these fighting powers, that she fought in the big war before the apocalypse, and she decides to take her warrior training and become a bounty hunter. And you're like, okay, this is interesting. She's gonna go do bounty hunting stuff. I wonder who she's gonna hunt down. And then like 2 seconds later, she's like, actually, I want to be a motorball champion. And I'm like, bitch, you just became a bounty hunter. Can you decide on one thing? And she's like, I want to do both. Bounty hunter and motorball lady. I'm like, this is not good. This is too much stuff in one movie. Again, I think it was the visual spectacle of motorball that they thought was going to sell tickets. Like, oh, look at this fucking futuristic roller derby and everybody's going around cutting each other's heads off. I wish they just focused on the bounty hunting because that's really cool. I don't need her to put on metal skates and jam a fun ball in the glory hole. Okay, that sounds fucking weird. And it's because of this, trying to jam in the motorball and the bounty hunting and the whole first arc and part of the second arc, that they kind of rush through a lot of stuff. Like the first 10 minutes of the movie, you meet like 8 or 9 different characters, just rapid fire. It's like, this is a doctor, this is her boyfriend, this is the doctor's wife, this is the bad guy, he's black. You're finding out about some ancient Martian war. Also, she was a Martian warrior, and she has a magic suit that she has to go find. It's just like, okay, slow the fuck down. Why so much shit? I'd say there's definitely too many characters in this movie. You have, like, 4 different bad guys who keep going up in tiers. One of them's at the bottom, and then it turns out there's another bad guy on top of him, and then there's another bad guy way on top of him. Part of the problem is that they're setting up for this sequel, so they're trying to introduce the main bad guy, like, way ahead of schedule. It's completely unnecessary, and the movie would have worked totally fine without any of that. That being said, whatever problems I have with the plot, I will say this. The plot goes from point A to point B, okay, and it gets there without any weird plot holes, without any nonsense, some Batman versus Superman, somebody saying Martha, and you don't know what the hell's going on. You can follow the plot. I assume. Now, here's the thing, is I have read all of Battle Angel Alita probably like 50 times. So, I know the plot. That means that whatever they throw at me, I go, yeah, I know what's going on. I don't know. For me, I was like, okay, the plot gets where it's going. It goes in too many fucking directions, but it gets there. It follows a logical thread. There's an arc, and I appreciate a movie that does that. In 2019, a movie that can have a coherent arc, okay, after we saw Last Jedi where fucking nothing makes sense, that's all I want at this point out of these Hollywood movies, is like, thank God somebody can write a fucking character arc that fucking makes sense. The character learns and grows and has a height, and then a bad thing happens and they learn a lesson. Whatever. It was good. Solid Hollywood script writing. Now, I would say probably the biggest problem I have with this movie is, and this is a weird one, is the set and costume design. Now, I know that sounds bizarre, of all the things for me to complain about, but the thing is that the Iron City, the scrapyard, which is beneath the giant golden shining city in the sky, it's very important to sell the idea that this place sucks. It's the post-apocalypse, everything is supposed to be shitty, society is completely broken down, and there's an evil sky city that uses the people on the ground basically as slaves, and doesn't care if they die in horrible fucking ways. They've gotten rid of any sort of police force, and they just have bounty hunters to go around cutting people's heads off. It should be a scary, dark, fucked up place. Iron City in this movie looks like a Disney World attraction. It looks like a fun resort town. It's all colorful, and there's guys playing guitar, and street children are playing fun roller skate games. There's little cafes, and everybody has like a fucking nice house with a balcony and all this shit. I was like, this looks like the most fun place to live in the world. It's a vibrant community. Everybody's wearing fun clothing, bright colors. None of it's dirty or grimy. It seems like they all make time to go to the laundromat every fucking day. You have the character Hugo, Alita's boyfriend, who keeps saying stuff like, living down here, you know, it's the slums, it's the gutter. You know, people stab you in the back down here. That's why I want to go to the sky. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't know. It looks like a pretty fun place to live. There's always something going on. If you're ever bored, you can go watch cyborgs beat the shit out of each other. Hugo, who in the manga is basically a homeless kid living in a fucking ramshackle hut, has his own place. It's a nice little, you know, studio apartment. I'm like, dude, I don't think you got any problems in the world that you got to escape from this horrible place wherever. It's nice. Zoom around town with your girlfriend. I don't think you have enough problems that you're like, oh, I'm so angsty. I gotta get to the city in the sky. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Really, the only thing bad about this city is that at night, murder people come out and start killing each other. But you kind of just get the feeling where it's like, yeah, just don't go out at night. And then, I mean, because during the day, again, it's a wonderland with like balloons and animals and fun. You know, at night, okay, people murder each other. Just, you know, lock your fucking door. One thing that I should mention is sometimes the dialogue is very bad. It sounds like things that no human being would ever say. You get a little bit of it in the trailer with Hugo. He goes like, oh, you know, life down here.
It's a harsh world. The strong prey on the weak down here.
And there's a lot of those schlocky kind of action lines where you already know what the next person's gonna say. At one point, Alita's fighting a bad guy in the sewers, and he goes, oh, I was I was born down here. And Alita, I'm like, she's gonna say, and you're gonna die down here. And then she goes, and you're gonna die down here. I'm like, yeah, okay, obviously. If you're ever writing a thing, and you write one of those lines where everybody sees it coming from a mile away, probably not a good line. You could probably find a way to put a twist on that maybe something unique gets said. Now, okay, the plot's not great, but what kind of makes up for it all, and I think we all knew this was going to be the case, is the CG fun times. All the characters having robot battles and smashing cyborgs into pieces. It's real good. It's the same guys who did Avatar. They knocked it out of the park. They must have had some crazy budget because there is no expense spared in the CG fighting. I never got into the uncanny valley with Alita where she starts looking like some sort of rubber person. Maybe I'm weird because the big eyes never bothered me. Like, I barely even notice it. I'm just like, yeah, it's some chick, she's got big eyes. I don't know. It's not that weird. One thing I was impressed by is that some of the scenes in the movie are straight out of the manga, okay? Because a lot of these movies, a lot of these adaptations, kind of seems like the writers just kind of phone it in. They watch the anime like one time and they go, yeah, I got the gist of it. Fuck it, I'll just write my own story and pretend it's that one. No, this is like straight up, they take stuff from the manga. Some of the scenes, some of the shots, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that panel. Okay, they did a real good job replicating that. The beginning in the scrapyard, I was like real happy when Ido's going around and the very first thing he does is pull an eyeball out of a skull. I was like, hey, that's how the comic starts. They're actually remaining true to the source material. Fantastic. That was the stuff that probably made me the happiest, and the stuff that made me less happy was when they just kind of started inventing characters, and I was like, this is not good. They definitely tried to redesign this movie to be kind of warm and fuzzy. In the manga, Doc Ido is kind of a creep, honestly. You know, he finds Alita in the scrapyard and is kind of like, I'm gonna be your dad now. And she's like, I don't need a dad. That's weird. Don't just assume that you're that. Whereas in Alita, she's like, it's my dad. I love my dad, the doctor. I was like, all right. I was also like, how come they got rid of his fun fat friend and replaced him with like this random black nurse who has, I don't know if she has a single line in the movie. She's kind of just there to be like, I'm the nurse. I'm in the background of all the scenes with the doctor for no reason. Very unnecessary character, but I guess, I don't know, adds to the diversity total. Don't give her any lines, though. That would be too much, right, Hollywood? Jesus Christ. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to get into spoilers, which means I'm kind of limited in what I can talk about. So I will say this. Movie is solid. I think that it's definitely worth buying a ticket just to see the fun cyborg action. The choreography is like real good. They got actual martial arts people to do motion capture. Will it do good enough for a sequel? Well, I went to the advanced IMAX fan screening or whatever. I paid $20 for the privilege, and that theater was not packed. It was not full. So we'll see. These movies are kind of a hard sell for people. People don't like things that they don't know, and obviously people are not really that big on anime and Japanese comics, so that might be enough to turn people off on the face of it. That being said, produced by James Cameron. I feel like that's a name that should bring people in. I don't know. I think the movie is solid enough that if they said we're doing a sequel, I'd be like, good, yeah, let's see where this is going. Scraps, I'm doing something. Yeah, that's my hat. I don't want to be a Hollywood shill. You know, if you don't want to see this movie, I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like, you got to see it so that they make a sequel for me. I don't care. If you don't want to see it, that's fine. Again, this is James Cameron's special effects team, digital CG people, and all of that looks fantastic. If you liked Avatar, I think this is definitely a movie to see. And I'd urge you, you know, if you're one of those guys who watches all the superhero movies, this is kind of on the same level. It's the same popcorn entertainment, just a thing to watch and have a good time. Watch people beat the shit out of each other. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit, okay? Alita doesn't wear, you know, a fun costume. Well, she wears a fun costume at a certain point. She doesn't have a cape, is what I'm saying. But it's still very much in the vein of a superhero movie. It hits a lot of the same story beats. So if you like those movies, I think you'll be at home with this one. Anyway, guys, this has been your boy Vito. Thanks for watching my fun Battle Angel movie review. Was it fun? I don't know. It's a movie review. I liked it. I give it a solid B-. B-, maybe a B. Probably a B- because it's a PG-13. I wanted blood. We got more videos coming down the pipeline. I'm working on some bigger video projects. They've been kind of in flux as I've been trying to balance them with my job. that keeps me from living on the street. I have to make money in creative ways. But I promise that I am working on them. They're coming soonish. Okay, I'm writing the script right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check on back. If you saw Alita, did you like it? Tell me. If you might see Alita or you don't want to see Alita, we'll fight it out in the comments. Let's do it. Thanks for watching. Peace and love in 2019. Yeah! Still need a tag at the end of these.